really bloody nostalgic. Demo discs had such ridiculously cool music. Seriously, this isn't my favourite one. I haven't remembered like which demo disc it was which had my favourite song in it. But it was like, oh, this is my favourite visualization in the background. But this is like the demo disc I played the most as a kid, playing Jade Cocoon, because Jade Cocoon was a really hard game to find. It was one of those games which was not printed very much, not released very much, not barely known at all. Oh my god, I've just noticed the chat is like really large font for some reason. Oh yeah, categorize, I disagree with him so much, to be honest. Like, everything in that video I agreed with, except when he said that literally my favourite demo disc song was his least favourite demo disc song. I was like, no, I've been betrayed. The man with the funny voice and equal Britishness disagree. This demo disc I played so much as a kid because I replayed the first early level of the game over and over and over and over again and dreamed of someday getting it, and then I finally did someday, and I was like, the best thing of the ever. I had this one small video game shop. It was before they had chain video game shops. It was just like a sort of like a very tiny shop, which was about like as big as a closet or something. And it had a couple of stuff. It reminded me a bit of an old used bookstore, but like for games and records and CDs and stuff. It was like a very tiny one on the corner of an intersection, where like I would go through there's a long way we used to walk from Penarth to Dinas Palace, and then there used to be somewhere on an intersection in there was this little shop that was closed a lot of the time, and sometimes it was open, and there was a really nice guy in there, and he sold lots of PS1 video games. They sold rare PS1 video games. Like, that was a place where you had a chance of finding the new stuff, finding old pre-owned stuff rather than just like whatever just came out. I would remember every time we would go down, I would insist, oh, we have to go in that shop on the way back. We have to go in the shop on the way back. We have to, even if it's like walking out of our way and everything. And every time we went, I was like, oh no, the guy is out to lunch, and there's a moment like we can't wait 5 minutes. I'm like, no, we have to wait 5 minutes, and then I went in there, and one day I finally got this game. I got this game and I got Mr. Driller. Those are my two like biggest PS1 games, which are really bloody ridiculously rare that I managed to actually look out and get. Lots of other ones I didn't manage to get though. Which is why another reason emulation is really good nowadays, because you get a chance to actually play these games that like were incredibly difficult to find and stuff. Anyway, this game is my heart. This game is my soul. This game has got so many Q monsters. You can fuse the Q monsters theoretically infinite Q monsters. But I haven't replayed this game in years and years and years and years. I haven't played it like at all since I was a child. So I'm wondering if it'll actually live up to my nostalgia, or if I'm like forgetting the bad bits or anything. Like, this game is like a very dark take on Pokemon catching, basically. It's got all complicated mythology stuff, and it went a bit over my head as a kid. I just remember fusing monsters. Oh my god, fusing monsters. There's a really robust system for fusing monsters in this game, seriously. I'm gonna play this stupid game on a stupid demo disc. I'm gonna cheer up slightly, and it'll be a nice quick preview of it, and like if you guys like it, we can stream it again another time. If not, no worries. Anyway, here's the cool animated intro to the game. Doesn't appear to be having any sound in the background. I can't remember if it was just something that happened in the demo, or if it's like for some reason not reading the game audio, because it was reading the audio on the demo disc itself. But yeah, look how awesome it is. This game literally, the art director was Katsuya Kondo from Studio Ghibli, and he did this cool animated opening. It's such a shame that the graphics in-game can't yeah, I guess they weren't showing any music for that. But in the final game, there is actually a song that goes with the introduction. Also, it's a lot longer. Like, that was a snippet, because it is like a demo and stuff. Another interesting fact about this game, different title screen in every single country. And also, the English, the British title screen, that image on there is not a character or a monster in the game. That is a stock art image of a tattoo dragon. Literally, I looked it up online, and you can find that on bloody not Shutterstock, but one of those stock sites. And I don't know if that's like the stock site, someone's illegally made a copy of like the design from Jade Cocoon and put it up on a stock site, or if it literally was that existed before the game came out and they put that in it. Interesting fact is, the US demo is slightly different, so I hope someday I'll be able to get a ROM of that and try that out on stream. Because apparently it has an earlier version of a translation with like several interesting different lines and changed character names, but you can tell like the British one came later because, as you can see, it's got the changed title screen, which is like the only real change in it. Also, the American version has a better logo, but the British version has a better box art. I'll show all that if I get playing the actual game, but we need to play the game and see if you even like it first. Oh, there we go. It was W. Why was start W? Oh, also the loading screen icon was changed between regions. In Britain, it's like the actual Jade Cocoon, which is funny because the actual Jade Cocoon was on the US title screen. That's what the US title screen was that little Jade Cocoon logo. But over here, it's on a loading screen thing instead. Anyway, here is our demo. It doesn't actually start at the beginning cutscene of the game. Instead, you just jump straight into already being in this is like the purification chamber, I think it's called, something like that. To give an explanation vaguely, character on the left is the one that's rotating in circles is you. Oh, wearing an outfit that he's not supposed to be wearing in the intro of the game yet. One in the middle, that's your priestess wife, who is like, her name is Marbu. It was called Marvu in the US demo, a bunch of different names and stuff. In the corner, perfect, amazing, wonderful grandma. Absolute glory. So yeah, this is your girlfriend, like, newlywed wife. At the start of the game, there's a few cutscenes, like, the story thing goes on, and it's like, well, you must marry her now for something destiny, because powers and blah. It's a way that the magic works in this universe. It's all, like, it's very, like, old mythological and stuff. Everything has, like, a million rules to it and all that. And, like, that's what I mean about it being a bit dark. It's, like, it's not dark in, like, a deconstructive sense. It's dark in, like, a sense of, like, old-fashioned, like, super dark fairy tales and stuff. But, like, the Japanese version of it, I find it interesting because, like, it's not, like, the old-timey fairy tales that we would know. It's more of a, like, an original thing based on, like, not even like an adaptation of real Japanese mythology, but, like, a original type of setting, sort of. But, yeah, this is my first played this game. Is like, one of my first introductions to, like, indigenous Japanese mythology and stuff like that. Anyway, yeah. I forgot it's got bloody tank controls! Oh my god, I forgot how much I hated this as a kid. This is literally the only game I've ever played with tank controls. As a kid, my first introduction to tank controls, and that was when I immediately decided I will never play another game with tank controls ever. In this game, it takes like half your time is just trying to rotate your stupid little man. Oh man, this is not running very well. Yeah, I'll definitely have to play an emulated version of this because it's not running well going off a disc. There's some stuttering in the background and stuff. Also, it seems to have like, oh, you can't change the options to make it not go auto text. In the final version, there's full voice acting, so it going auto text makes sense. In here, it's just awkward because I don't have enough time to read it out. This is Marbu, who is your girlfriend character, who is also the priestess who purifies the monsters you catch, because it's all, like I said, it's all very old mythological take on monster catching. And like, you're like a warrior, you have to go out with like your hunting knife and you gotta like catch the monsters, and then you gotta take them back and do all these rituals to purify them into like a usable form, and like it was like healing like the guilt of Elrim or something like that. It was a cool lot of mythology on this, where monsters in this world are a punishment sent from the god Elrim down to humans, and like they're supposed to basically be like the flood in biblical mythology. They're supposed to like wipe out humans and start all over again, but this is like the situation where we're living in right now is humans in like an uneasy state of like staving off that inevitable demise, because they learn like that's about cocoon masters and Nagi priestesses and stuff like that. It's like all this magic that was created to like be a way to like escape the punishment of God and like turn the monsters into friends, to basically just not be murdered by the monsters. The monsters are essentially avenging angels in this world, and I think that's just such a rad idea of world building. Perform divine magic, aka access your PC box. I found that interesting. It's closed till some. That's a cute way of saying it's not in the demo yet. Oh yeah. Oh, you do start with some monsters. That's good. So I can already start and show you off some of this. The concept of this game, the monster fusion engine in this game is so ridiculously advanced. That's why the story in this game is so short. It's like the game is like, it takes a lot longer because it's quite difficult. Like as a kid, I remember I spent like over 24 hours. I still didn't manage to actually finish it until like 30 hours. But like apparently, like people who can speedrun this, like the whole game's story is like 8 hours, and most of the time in the gameplay is taken up by like monster fusion and grinding and stuff like that. But like, yeah, this game was like, it was quite bare bones. This concept was very rushed. A lot of the story potential didn't get to go anywhere. But that's because 90% of the goddamn disk space is taken up by the amazing monster fusion system. And I will show you. Oh, that's weird. In the demo, there isn't an option to see the monster before you actually fuse it. That's a bit inconvenient for showing it off. I can't show you what the monsters look like before I fuse them. Oh, magic beasts who doth serve us, merge thy bodies together and become of even greater power with no punctuation at the end of a sentence. This dialogue here is completely different. Reveal to us thine heroic form. That is in the final, but before that, in the final version she says, give us this day our daily bread. Like, it's like they randomly threw in like Christian quotes, even though it's clearly a Japanese game. The translation is slightly different in that way, but apparently it's even more different in the American version of the demo. I need to play and compare them all. Can we finally see it? No, we still can't see it. We're naming it. We still can't see what it looked like. Your name shall be mystery. Where is Visible of Monster? Maybe I should just play the final game because this demo seems to have a few problems with it, including not being able to run your character yet. What to do? Anyway, look at how cute our character sprite is. Can we see our monster here? Can we see our monster here? Can we see our monster here? Show me our monster! Who are you? Show us our appearance of look and things. Yeah, exactly, this game is monopolizing the monster. Oh, one interesting thing is that for some reason, whenever you emulate this game, the HP bars don't work. As you can see, there's like HP bar is just like extending out of it, and like you can't tell when you lose HP or anything. It just stays like that forever. So for some reason, that's a universal thing that happens with every emulation of this game, whether it's a demo version, the Japanese version, the English version, or anything like that. Just can't run the HP bars. Doesn't happen in any other games, just this game. Oh, another interesting thing is that you can equip your main character and fight with your main character, not just your monsters. And in the actual final game, you have to do that for a little while. You before you catch your first monster, you actually have to go out and fight as yourself. And even later in the game, you still have to fight as yourself to be able to catch the monsters. You fight with a monster, but then in order to catch a monster, you have to temporarily switch back to your main character, your human character. And he's like super fragile, so it's like a risk and reward sort of thing, where like catching a monster, like you risk getting your ass kicked in like the one turn it takes to do your magical song to catch the monster. Another interesting thing too is that you can't catch monsters using Jade Cocoons, as in the name. For some reason, Jade Cocoons are like summoned by like playing a flute. You play a flute and somehow cocoons appear around the monsters and purify them. It's very strange and it's very old mythological, and the atmosphere of this game is absolutely on point. Anyway, let's talk to amazing, beautiful, wonderful Grandma. Will you show us our monsters, please? Look at her. I love her hat. Ever since your father disappeared into the forest, Chorus has been taking very good care of Cyrus. Cyrus is the name of the village. Chorus is the name of your dad's old friend. However, he promised to do so only until you came of age. Oh, I forgot the world building about that. I just remembered, like, it... I think it'd be best for you to study on them, etc. It's like, this game has, like, a bit of a sad aspect to it, but, like, you were a child who was being, like, pushed into things before your time. Like, you were in training to become a cocoon master, and, like, you're the only person in the whole village who can do it. It's a lot of bloody pressure on this poor kid. But, like, becoming a cocoon master who is, like, the person who can catch monsters and etc. is, like, a genetically passed down thing. And you had to do it because your father was it, and your father left and abandoned you when you were very young. And everyone's, like, training you your entire life to be, like, the savior of the village who is the only person who can stop the goddamn monsters from murdering the entirety of humanity. And then, like, your character isn't even ready to start doing that. But there's like a big disaster happened, and now he's forced into that position. And he had to like be forced into like a very young marriage with his childhood girlfriend. This game is actually very got very interesting concepts on that, because like later in the game there's a whole plot where like Mabu, like, she does love you and all, like you were childhood sweethearts. You were already in love before you got pushed into the arranged marriage. But then it's got the complex situation of it being pushed into the arranged marriage kind of like messed with your love, and you end up having a lot of problems with it. And it was like, even though you two genuinely did love each other, it still wasn't a good thing to be pushed into marriage so young. I just felt like it was a very interesting and complex thing to handle. Anyway, blah 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 tutorials. Where me dad? That was soon after I left the Nagi village with Martha. Here's a one snippet of the different translation. Different name for your girlfriend in the American English version. This is definitely an in-between between that first demo and the final version. It's very interesting to see. I've definitely got to play that. Anyway, they were grave wounds, my treatment revived him. Anyway, so yeah, Grandma isn't a real grandma. She's like a traveling fortune teller from an ancient indigenous tribe who saved our dad from dying. And after our dad mysteriously vanished, she stayed in the village to like look after us and all that. She's awesome. She's very wholesome. I love her. And her design is just so cute. Your father Ricketts, the Lion of Peral. All the words in this game are too awesome. Seriously, everything sounds so fucking cool. Oh, it's Erlim instead of Elrim. That's so weird to see some of the names are different and some of the names are not different. I find it interesting they have an animation of her showing you something in her hand, but they don't actually have anything in her hand. It makes me wonder if that was like, at some point they intended to have the item sprite appear there, but it does not. Basically telling us how the game works, and the whole concept was like monsters are evil avenging angels sent down by a vengeful god, and we have to pacify their spirit by proving ourselves in battle and capture them within magical cocoons, and then they become our friends and help fight the other monsters. To like, it's basically like we're proving that humanity is worth saving by playing cute, beautiful songs to these monsters and being friends to them. Its spirit will seek tranquility. Yeah. It's really good world building. I wish they did more of it. Yeah, this is a little bit of confusing explanation. It's like, they call them Firefly Cocoons rather than Jade Cocoons. Like, the whole game and the name of the game should be called, it's Jade Cocoon. Why do you not call, it's like, it makes no sense. Like, a cocoon which has a monster in it is called a Firefly Cocoon, when the whole point is that it's a Firefly Cocoon that was like the Firefly was taken out of it, and then you put a monster in it. But if you put the monster in it, it's then called a Firefly Cocoon anyway. It's like, why don't I just call it a monster cocoon? Anyway. Okay. Oh, black cocoons are the MacGuffin of this game. That's the reason your dad left, because gender roles and heterosexism. Oh. Yeah, this game has a really stupid concept of how the magic is super gender stratified. That's why you have to be forced into an arranged marriage with like your girlfriend. And this is because for some reason only men can be the cocoon monsters that go out and hunt the monsters and capture the monsters and fight with the monsters. But they're also completely fucking useless unless they have a woman at home, because even though women are like literally, by the way the magic works, being forced to stay at home and only do magic and stuff, it also, they're the ones who do like 90% of the work, and I wish the game would acknowledge that more. Like your girlfriend, the Nagi priestess, she does all the work. She's the one who purifies the monsters' souls to be able to like make them not hate humanity anymore. She's the one who fuses them into amazing forms and powers them up and does all this stuff. And she does it at great personal cost too. Like, she has to bear like cursed markings on her arms so, as the game progresses, because of all like the sheer pain of how much the magic costs her. And it's just like, seriously, and all you have to do is wander around and catch monsters in the first place, and you're the one who gets all the credit for it, seriously. It's not as bad as Awakening, it's just like a little bit of an undertone to this game. But this game is based on like really old mythology, so it does make sense in it. Anyway, the Black Cocoon's coming down here earlier. World building in this game saying that like a black cocoon is caused by when a man tries to do magic. Like, there is man magic, there is woman magic, and in this world it works that way. That's just the way the universe works. And like, the man can only do the fight magic, the woman can only do the hug magic, and basically, black cocoons happen where if a man tries to do purification magic, and it's just so sad too, because you start off the game, you think that your dad abandoned you because he's evil and stuff, and then you learn that your dad like abandoned you because he'd been like horribly cursed into becoming someone evil, because he tried to make a black cocoon, which is like I said, the women mages in this have a really bad end of the deal. They suffer horrifying curse markings and eventually die from the trauma of doing their magic. Like, they all die prematurely in a horrible way of like their skin bloody rotting and like being forced to like cover themselves up to not see it, and it's all very, very bloody sad. But yeah, your dad ended up leaving because he tried to learn how to do purification magic to take the burden off his wife. He was literally like, I would rather die instead of you, and the way the world works, that it punished him for doing that, because blah blah blah, men and women, blah blah blah. So your dad got possessed by an evil spirit and like ran off into the forest to become all evil and such, because he dared to do the forbidden magic of trying to save his wife from heteronormativity. Yeah, it's sad. Let's move on. I'm blabbering on about things that you guys don't even know, because we haven't even started the goddamn game. Anyway, Mother Garai is the best grandma, and I love her. Love Gran, love Gran, love Gran. Love Gran, love Gran, love Gran. Let's go to battle and finally see what our goddamn monster looks like. Oh yeah, the heartbeat sounds in the gates. Oh, I remember this, seriously. Okay, which was the first gate we go to? I think it's a Beetle Gate was the first one that unlocks in the demo. Here we go. That melody, might you be the son of Riquettes, the cocoon master of sun? I'm so unused to playing this game and not having voice acting. In the final version, it does have voice acting. It's one of the earliest games which had full voice acting. Something terrible must have happened in Cyrus, which we're not going to show in the demo because it's a demo. Tell me what it is. I see. So the locusts have reached as far as Cyrus. So I will summarize the cutscene that will be in a final game, but you didn't get to see it. So you have come seeking the Calabash herb, which you would have actually had explained earlier to you in the final game. But still, you're flute playing. You still have much to learn, don't you? This guy's our dad's old friend from before he vanished in mysterious circumstances. He's basically like our mentor for the first 5 seconds of the game. And then he never appears again. It's kind of weird. It's more signs of a plot on this being a little bit rushed. You will capture many minions as you wander through his forest. Slight typo. So useful to you, the firefly cocoons which imprison their spirits must be purified. Yeah, here's the thing. Once you catch a monster, you can't immediately use it. You have to get your priestess wife. Do you know of her? No, I'm literally married to her. But yeah, that's the whole thing. It's like separate but equal. However you put it is like only men can do the magic fighting, but also they're useless if they don't have a heterosexual wife, because the heterosexual wife has to like do the magic to make the monsters be able to fight in the first place. Yeah. Okay, we can't do tutorials. In the final game, this is where you get tutorials rather than having them explained to you by Mother Garai without anything. It's like an actual interactive tutorial happens, and that's where you catch your first monster. But instead we started this game, we already had Arpatron in our party. A funny thing, when I first played this game as a kid, I did not know that the tutorials could happen with Chorus. So I walked past him without doing the capture tutorial. So I never got the Arpatron monster. It's the only time you ever get it is in the capture tutorial. I went the entire playthrough of the game not knowing it existed until I went online and people were talking about like, oh, how to get more than one Arpatron. So what the hell is an Arpatron? Anyway, Arpatron is really cute. It's a square-nosed dragon. It's very, very lovely. Basically, he does our tutorial because he's like, hey, I live in the forest, come over to here and prove that you can not die. And then, like, right after that, he disappears from the plot entirely forever. It feels like all the build-up to him is not really worth it. You have the vision to find my house. Also, his hair is blonde in his sprite, but it's orange on his actual model. And in the concept art in the art book, his hair is brown. What is the truth? What is the truth? Oh, the walk speed is really slow. If I recall correctly, in the final game, you can actually, like... Oh, you can! Yeah, you can run! Okay, it's just really awkwardly mapped in the controller. I should probably remap my controller. Go and speak with Grandma. Cora's giving us great advice. Go back and talk to your grandma. She loves you. Oh, this is nostalgic. The music of the first screen of the game. Oh. The pre-rendered backgrounds don't look as good in emulation, but oh, they had a lot of really good creativity and detail put into it. Oh, is that Pataimal? Is that Pataimal? Oh! Yes, Pataimal, the first monster! Oh, his little bugs. So many monsters in this game are bug themed. It's very like this game knows and loves that bugs are cute in. But yeah, as you can see, in the game, like, you can battle as your character alongside your monsters, and you have to do that in order to capture them. You can summon the monsters and they're able to deal a lot more damage than you, and actually take hits and stuff. It's one of those things where if your protagonist dies and the whole game is over and stuff. But you have to switch back to your protagonist in order to be able to, actually catch monsters, so it's a risk and reward sort of thing. And yeah, as you can see, the issue with the HP bars that happens in all emulations for this game for some reason, no one's ever figured out how to fix it. So you can't tell when HP is being lowered down, you have to pay attention to the numbers rather than the bar. Yeah, I remember when I first played the game, I totally accidentally missed the tutorial where you're supposed to get Arpatron. So this is my first monster I ever got was Pataimal. And I just love it. And I found it was like a really intense, like interesting experience to have to fight it on your own with your character and be like super wimpy and like risking dying and stuff. And then yeah, and then it goes down to 1 HP. Like, oh, I wonder if they designed that specifically, that like the amount of attack at the start of the game would always make it go down to 1 HP. But yeah, let's have a capture. Let's look at the interesting capture scene. You get a whole bloody cutscene for it. nostalgia! Oh, the little bloody dance you do after you get a new friend. I love the world building in this, seriously. Instead of just having a Pokeball you throw at something, you have this bloody magical spell to like wrap it up in a blanket of cocoon, and then you have to purify them to turn them into Firefly spirits. It's all so fucking interesting. And seriously, just somehow it really touches my heart to just imagine the idea of like monsters being like this like commanded by God to come and destroy humans, and then they come along and like a human just wraps them in a little cocoon blanket, and they're like, no, I can't kill you anymore, you're too nice, no, and then you become best friends forever and you give them big old hugs and smooches. I care so much for the monsters, I care so many for them. Oh, we definitely need to summon our mystery to see what it actually looks like. That's such a bloody like oversight that you can't see your monsters while you're fusing them. I'm 90% sure you could actually see a monster when you're fusing them in the final game. So, yeah. Oh no, Patimon, hug me, Patimon, I love you. Let's just fuse everything with Patimons. Patimons. Let's, where's the button to summon? I'm getting some mixed up because this one doesn't have, 0 as the cancel button. Not the circle as the cancel button, it's triangle. It's hard to remember where triangle is on the keyboard. Let's finally see our monster! Okay, that is weird. I guess it must have been a Patelchu we had instead of a Patimon. Cause I skim read when we were fusing the monsters, and I assumed it was going to be a Patimon because it's the first monster you get in the game. Patelchu is like they're called the Ochu clan in the second game. In the original game, they didn't really have like official names for all the monster categories, which is kind of weird because this game focuses more on that existing. In the second game, they don't have any monster fusion at all. There's a much more limited amount of monsters. Anyway, oh, I should have not fused. I should have shown you what Arpatron looked like first. But yeah, this is a fusion of a dragon type and the ogre type, basically. Oh, that sound, seriously. I love a little crunchy dragon. It looks like a little prune. This man is a radioactive avocado and I love him so much. Oh, and they're remembering the spell names like Varley and Varlis, because putting an S on the end means it's a multi-target attack. Oh. But yeah, Ogchu types do not have very much mana. I put it down, we'll get some more Patelchu, yeah, Time-Elves. Time-Elf fuse is good with everything. It's just a good little classic big-headed bug, and it's got a nice pattern too. It reminds me kind of coral snakes. A lot of the monsters in this game are bug types, and they're also based on like very obscure bugs. I can't remember what. I don't think I ever found out which one Time-Owl is based on. But I know there's one later on which is like a giraffe-necked beetle or something like that. And it's like this is one of the only games that actually has a leech monster in it. I love leeches. Leeches are my favourite goddamn bug. I don't know why no one else thinks they're cute. They're just like worms with attitude. They have interesting, silly mannerisms. They're the jesters of the worm world. And also, they're very helpful in medicine. Like, all those people act like bloody, like, leech medicine was like, oh, some evil, stupid, and quack thing that they used to do in the olden times. But no, it actually worked. Like, it actually literally worked. It was the anesthetic that people used before anesthetic was invented. Like, leeches literally produce a natural anesthetic in their mouth. They are like the kindest of all parasite animals. Like, they literally, they don't let you feel pain when they drink your blood. You don't get any pain. Your wound is perfectly sterile. Like, of all the animals to ever give you a little bite, they're the ones who give you the nicest bite. Knowledge. I acquire knowledge. I can't remember how these were doing, yes. I think those are just tips on how to make the secret fusions, which I never figured out as a kid because they just were very confusing. It's so weird because like 90% of the game, like, you can fuse whatever you want, and there's only like 2 secret fusions where what you actually fuse together actually gives you a different result to the originals. Oh no, it's just tutorial stuff. I can't remember the exact one, but I think it's like they help reduce swelling on stuff because they both sterilize the wound, they give anesthetic, and they also reduce swelling because they naturally clean out the wound, they clean all the bad stuff out of it, and they like reduce the blood flow. So yeah, leeches fucking were like They were quite rightfully the friend of plague doctors. They like actually helped, unlike all of the other bloody quackery that people used to believe about, like putting a shaved chicken bum on your armpit to cure yourself of the plague. Like that was stupid, but leeches were not. Leeches were saving all these bloody uninformed plague doctors from dying their whole asses out. Anyway, that's a teleporter you get when you unlock at the end of a dungeon to get to skip to the end of a dungeon. I remember as a kid going through this first area so much and using the teleporter so much, and just going through and catching monsters again and again and infusing them just to see what the option was. Yeah, bloodletting is like, oh my god, I never knew! I never knew you could interact with that. I thought that was a dead end. Holy shit! I didn't know you could interact with that because it's a pre-rendered background. Like, it wasn't one of those things that look like it's standing out from the pre-rendered background. Props to them for the good artistic skill and not making that stand out too much. I think it's just a shortcut to a place you find later anyway. Anyway, this is the pure form of Ogchu, which is the one that we fused our monster with. I can't remember, was it called Ogchu in this one, or was it only called Ogchu in the sequel? Oh, it's Patalchu in this version. Oh yeah, I remember. All the fire monsters are called Patal something or Pat something. It was interesting how they made up their a whole lingo for how the monsters work in this. But yeah, bloodletting was basically where the stereotype of like leeches being stupid and like unreal and not a good concept came from. It's because like leeches genuinely could help with like actual infected wounds, like actual wounds that already existed and stuff. But then there was like this crazy concept of like it's taking it from like draining blood to help with infection and swelling. Genuinely works, but then they thought the concept like they just like misinterpreted as like draining blood from anything at any time will automatically cure everything. So they would have bloodletting for like diseases that had no way of being cured by bloodletting, and it was just like, yeah, same as trepanning. Like there are genuine situations where like you can have like a compounded skull and then like making a small cut and fracture in it to let pressure out and like do operations on your skull can be good, but the whole idea like changed into just like stab a hole in your head and it will universally be good for everything. Not good. The same for electroshock therapy actually. Like electroshock therapy, when done correctly, like it passes a small current through your head and you cannot actually feel it, and if it's passed through like the correct part of your head, it can actually like help sort out the electrical signals and stuff and like fuse like lows back correctly into your brain and all that. But like a very small voltage thing in a very specific place, not the whole concept of just fucking literally sticking someone in an electrical chair, like doing an incredibly painful thing to them. Like, but electroshock therapy got changed in its meaning entirely. Like nowadays, like people call it, the version that people used that went totally wrong is like, it's called like electric conversion therapy instead. That's the one that was like historically used like specifically for autistic children and other children with special needs, where it was like it wasn't actually like operating on your head and using a current in your head to sort out something in your head that involved actual electricity. No, it was just literally strapping an electric like bracelet to a kid, and like whenever they did something wrong, you electrocute them. And like that's the wildest way of like misinterpreting an actual medical advice into something ridiculously, stupidly awful and different, and then changing the perception of that medical advice forever. So they actually have to change the name of the goddamn actual medical procedure that is not horrible and torturous. Seriously. I'm getting bloody distracted. Let's go smack this Patal 2 with our mysterious foot. No, we cannot. We have no MP left. One interesting thing about this game is that it has magical elements and it has like physical elements. You can see here horn, fang, claw, tail, and foot, and it's basically like an alternate set of elemental types, but for like martial arts physical attacks. It's also what's interesting is like, again, the monster fusion system is really goddamn in depth in this game, and the idea is like if you fuse an ability over to a second monster that didn't already have that body part, it will grow that body part. So like, for example, if you had like the snake monster and you fused it with a monster which had legs, then you'll get a monster which has legs because you'll have the leg-based physical skills. But if you fuse it but don't keep the leg-based physical skills, then it will still not have legs. It's very, very confusing and interesting. Just it wasn't very well handled with the interface and everything. So yeah.